Well, good morning. It is Friday, January 9th, and we're here for a morning devotion, and today's devotion comes from Psalm 89. And so we're going to end our week on a very long one. It's 52 verses, so bear with me. And it's entitled God's Covenant with David. I will sing of your steadfast love, O Lord, forever. With my mouth I will proclaim your faithfulness to all generations. I declare that your steadfast love is established forever. Your faithfulness is as firm as the heavens. You said, I have made a covenant with my chosen one. I have sworn to my servant David. I will establish your descendants forever and build your throne for all generations. Let the heavens praise your wonders, O Lord. Your faithfulness is the assembly of the holy ones. For who in the skies can be compared to the Lord? Whom among the heavenly beings is like to God? A God feared in the council of the holy ones, great and awesome above all that are around you. O Lord of hosts, who is as mighty as you, O Lord? Your faithfulness surrounds me. You rule the raging of the seas, and with its waves rise, you still them. You crush Rahab like a carcass. You scatter your enemies with your mighty arms. The heavens are yours, the earth also is yours. The world and all that is in it, you have founded them. The north and the south you created them. Tabor and Hamor jealously praise your name. You have a mighty arm. Strong is your hand, high is your right hand. Righteousness and justice are the foundations of your throne. Steadfast love and faithfulness go before you. Happy are the people who know the festal shout, who walk, O Lord, in the light of your countenance. They exult in your name all day long and extol your righteousness. For you are the glory of your strength. By your favor your horn is exalted. For your shield belongs to the Lord, O King, to the Holy One of Israel. Then you spoke a vision to your faithful ones and said, I have set the crown on one who is mighty. I have exalted one chosen for the people. I have found my servant David. With my holy oil I have anointed him. My hand shall always remain with him. My arm shall also strengthen him. The enemy shall not outwin him. The wicked shall not humble him. I will crush his foes before him and strike down those who hate him. My faithfulness and steadfast love shall be with him, and in my name his horn shall be exalted. I will set his hand on the sea and his right hand on the rivers. He shall cry to me, you are my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I will make him the firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. Forever I will keep my steadfast love for him. My covenant with him will stand firm. I will establish his line forever, and his throne as long as the heavens endure. If his children forsake my law and do not walk according to my ordinance, if they violate my statutes and do not keep my commandments, then I will push their transgressions from the rod and their iniquity from the scourges. But I will not remove him from my steadfast love, or be false to my faithfulness. I will not violate the covenant, or alter the word that went forth from my lips. Once and for all I have sworn my holiness. I will not lie to David. His line shall continue forever. His throne endure before me like the sun. It will be established forever like the moon, and endure witnesses in the sky. But now you have spurned and rejected him. You are full of wrath against your anointed. You have renounced the covenant of your servants. You have defiled his crown to the dust. You have broken through all the walls. You have laid his stronghold in ruins. All who pass by plunder him. He has become the scorn of your neighbors. You have exalted the right hand of his foes and have made him all of his enemies rejoice. Moreover, you have turned back the edge of the sword. You have not supported him in battle. You have removed the scepter from his hand and hurled his throne to the ground. You have cut short the days of his youth and covered him with shame. How long, O Lord, will you hide yourself forever? How long will your wrath burn like fire? Remember how short my time is. For what vanity you have created all mortals. You can live and never see death. Who can escape the power of Sheol? Lord, where is your steadfast love of old, which by your faithfulness you swore to David? Remember, O Lord, how your servant is taunted, how I bear in my bosom the insults of the people. with which your enemies taunt, O Lord, with which they taunt the footsteps of your anointed. Blessed be the Lord forever. Amen and amen. Yeah, that's a long one, isn't it? And so what we have, this is God's covenant with David. We know God called David out of the fields, basically, and said, you are going to be the king of Israel. And so he made a covenant with him. And he says in verse 3, this, I have made a covenant with David. I have sworn my servant will be David. And this is the covenant that he made. It's verse 4. I will establish your descendants forever and build your throne for all generations. That's the covenant that he chose David. And out of the line of David, we know comes the Christ child in Advent. We know Jesus comes that. So he's establishing this lineage for something to come in the future. And the psalmist at the time doesn't know what that is, but we know that something will come up. And he talks about how glorious and wonderful this covenant's going to be with David and all the works that God has done in this world. They continue to go on, but towards the very end it says that you have broken this covenant, my people. You have put David to shame. You have taken the scepter from his hand. You have done all this wickedness. You have rejected him. You have given him full wrath. You have renounced the covenant. And so that's the point of all this, is that we renounce the covenant. We are the ones that break the covenant. God has always been faithful to the covenant. This covenant with David and a covenant with Abram way back in Genesis, that he will be our God if we will be his people. But we need to be faithful. We need to work and do better at keeping the covenant that we are God's chosen people. We are a part of this covenant, and be faithful to that covenant with God. For God is always faithful. God has never broken that covenant. That's our God. That's the God we serve. That's the God who offers us steadfast love and peace and joy and hope and all those things we celebrate at Christmas and love. Our God is faithful, my friends, and we should be as faithful as well. And so I invite you in this time after Christmas to work on being more faithful. Work on not only making yourself a better person, but making yourself a better disciple of Jesus Christ by following the covenant and listening to where God is leading you and being faithful to all that God has to offer.